Seeing as moves are an integral part of the Pokemon gameplay, heck, it's how you play the game, signature moves are pretty cool. They can make or break how good a Pokemon is, but they can also help a Pokemon become more memorable, although some cannot be saved. But today I decided to see a world where every Pokemon has some sort of signature move. Because
everyone's super! No one will be.
But first, let's start with some ground rules. First, no Pokemon who already have signature moves. Duh. But this also includes Pokemon who lost their signature moves. For example, Parting Shot used to be Pangoro's signature move in X and Y, but it was eventually given to this stupid cat. However, that doesn't take away the fact that Pangoro had it in X and Y. Like, if you go back and play X and Y, there's not going to be an Incineroar who's going to take it away from Pangoro. Also, if a regional form of another Pokemon has a signature move, but the OG doesn't, then I won't count them. Like, I don't see anyone other than Slowbro using Shell Sidearm, even if it's the British one. Also, there is over 1,000 Pokemon. Even if half of them already have signature moves, I would still have to make new ones for 500 of them. So this is going to be broken up into 9 parts, one for each major generation. Also, if one Pokemon doesn't have a signature move, but their evolution does, it's out. If they don't have a signature move in their debut generation, but get one later on, it's out. Basically, if it's on Bulbapedia's Pokemon with signature moves list, it's out. But with that being said, let's hop into Gen 1. Starting off with the starters, we have Venusaur. Venusaur is a grass and poison type. It also has a big flower on its back, so it has to have something to do with the flower. So, pollen. Pollen is usually just making people sneeze, but can have some pretty dangerous effects. And the Venusaur line is already all about them status conditions. So, how about this? Toxic Pollen. It's functionally a grass-type tri-attack, but instead of having a chance to paralyze, freeze, or burn, it has a chance to paralyze, sleep, or poison. I specifically chose those 3 because Bulbasaur already learns Poison Powder, Sleep Powder, and Stun Spore. Next, Charizard. As if it needs any more special attention. Well, it's a fire type, and it has wings, so what if it uses its wings to attack, kind of like its Gigantamax form? So here, Flaming Wing Beat. It does fire damage, and then the intense winds force the target off of the battlefield, similarly to how Roar does it. Now, yeah, it is just a turtle with cannons, but gosh dang is it a cool turtle with cannons. So, the cannons. They're gonna play a big role, and he's just got 2 of them, so why not make it a multi-hit move? So, Aqua Cannon, or Double Cannon, you decide. It's basically a water-type Dragon Darts, with it hitting twice in singles, but both opponents once in doubles. Now, Butterfree is a pretty interesting case, being heavily focused on status moves, just like Venusaur, but I really don't want to double up on status effect focused guys. So instead, let's see what Butterfree is based on. Well, it's a butterfly, duh. And what do butterflies do? Well, they're pretty good pollinators. Maybe not as good as bees, but they're still good. So, how about the move Pollinate? It raises 3 of your allies' stats at random, but only if they're grass type. Sorry. So it balances out a bit. Pidgeotto is just a bird. So, the basic design gets a basic move. Arrow, get it, does 35 damage, hits 2 to 3 times. There you go. Happy? Now, since they're just so similar, Nidoking and Nidoqueen can share a move. Now, lots of status effects are type assigned. You know, how Burn has fire, Freeze has ice, Poison has poison. I promise this is relevant, please focus. However, I do think it's really cool when a status effect is put on a move of a different type. Like how Scald is a water move with a chance to burn, or her Scorching Sands is a ground move with a chance to burn. So I thought I would do something similar. So how about this move? Stomping Spines. It's a ground-type physical move, and it's got a chance to poison. Pretty cool. You know what else I think is cool? When a signature move is a different type than the Pokemon that they're assigned to. So long as it makes sense, British Stunfisk, why art thou signature move a grass type? So, Fearow. Fear Wing, it's a dark move with a high crit ratio. There you go, happy, next one. Okay, now before we get to some really interesting ones, I want to rapid fire off some of the more quote-unquote boring ones. Wigglytuff, Inflate, expand on the balloon inspiration, takes half damage the next time they're hit, then the attacker's attack stat drops. Venomoth, Toxic Wing, it has a chance to badly poison the target. Victory Bell, Floral Chomp, it's a grass-type pluck. Hitmonchan, KO Punch, if it knocks out the target, then the Hitmonchan boosts its attack and speed. Poliwrath, a quad combo, hits 2 to 5 times, boom. Whew, that was a lot. Alright, now the rest of the moves here have at least a little bit of interesting stuff to them. Have it be with the Pokemon or the move itself. Or, you know, how the move interacts with the Pokemon, whatever. Anyways, so Ninetales. Despite not being a Psychic type itself, it sure feels like it. It has plenty of Psychic type moves, it has this very wise look to it. So its signature move, Ancestral Flare, works similarly to Flying Press, where the move is either Fire or Psychic type, whichever does more damage. So Sandslash is a really interesting Pokemon. It starts as a pangolin, which then gets spikes and resembles a hedgehog. So I'll take traits from both of them to make their move. Spiny Shield, which sounds very similar and functions even more similarly to Spiky Shield. It protects the user, and then if hit, it sets up spikes. So the protect part comes from how pangolins have very tough skin, and the spiny bit is how hedgehogs have spines. Yeah. Tentacruel is a jellyfish. How do jellyfish catch their prey? That's right, they tangle them with their... Hold on, wait, just...
Nematocyst.
That's right, they tangle them with their nematocysts. And what are in these nematocysts? Toxins. So, bam, the move, Venomous Hold, wraps the target and then has a chance to poison them. Pair this with literally any healing move and you got a pretty darn good stall set. Alright, so, Golem. If anything, Golem is famous for one thing. So, seeing that Golem has little to no regard for its own mortality, a recoil move makes quite a lot of sense. So, here's Landslide. It's basically Rock-type Brave Bird. That's it. And now... Clefable. Now, listen, I don't particularly like Clefable, but I did do my best to give it a pretty good move. So, the fairy type has always been associated with the moon, ever since it's been conceptualized. Moonlight, Moonblast, etc. And this is especially true for the Clefable line, because in lore, they are supposedly from the moon. So, maybe they take power from the moon. Then I thought about it charging moves, so here it is. Moonlight Laser. It takes one turn to charge up, and then it fires on the next turn. It's like a solar beam or electroshot or... What's another? I don't care. Dugong is just a dugong with a horn. So, I guess it has something to do with the horn, right? It's the only interesting thing about it. So, Frigid Horn. It has a 50-50 chance to either lower the target's defense by 2 stages, or freeze. Either or, one of them is happening. Muck is a pile of sludge. Liquid sludge. One might even say a living wave of sludge. So, Gunk Wave. It hits everyone on the field and has a chance to lower special defense. Is it really similar to Sludge Wave? Heck yeah. Okay, Hypno is weird. He's literally just a creepy man who puts people to sleep with hypnosis. Anyone who uses a hypno is not a good person. Usually. Most of the time. So why not combo off that sleep thing with a signature move? Nightmare Trap does big damage and lowers both of their attack stats, but it only works if they're asleep, similarly to Dream Eater. Now, Pinsir's signature move, Dual Clamp, hits the opponent twice and prevents them from escaping, as a reference to its giant horns. Again, I don't really have much to say here. It's just, it's kind of cool. It has 2 secondary effects. Whoa. Now, many of Lapras's dex entries reference it transporting people across water, so that could be a reference in its move, Chili Transport. What it does is it swaps out its ally in doubles and heals them for half of their max HP. Now the fossils. Even though they're all unique Pokemon with unique moves, I'm clumping them together in the same section because of their moves being very similar. Ancient Waves for Amistar, Ancient Scythe for Kabutops, and Ancient Wind for Aerodactyl all do damage corresponding to their non-rock type, so Water for Amistar and Kabutops, and Flying for Aerodactyl. And then as a secondary effect, they set up Stealth Rocks. Is this overpowered? Probably. Don't care. So, Snorlax is a sleepy guy, and he likes eating food, so it has to do with one of those, and I chose to sleep. So its signature move would reflect that. Drowsy Stumble does really big damage, but it also puts Snorlax to sleep. It's kind of like an offensive version of Rest. And finally, Dragonite. I honestly had no idea for this one, so this goes out to my English teacher. Taking from the Knight part of Dragonite, and the most famous Dragonite user in all of the games, Dragonlance does a moderate amount of damage, has a high crit ratio, and has a chance to flinch. Pretty cool. And that's it for today. Sorry for rushing and going all over the place here. A lot of the Pokemon here just don't have a lot to them. After all, it is Gen 1. And don't worry, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled Fakemon next week. And with that, see ya. And stay safe.